How's everyone doing this evening?
Good.
Welcome. So tonight we're going to be going over some tips and tricks for the DNA altar and crystal list, and then we'll get into a little bit of theory about possibly consciousness and for sure being in the moment, being confident. And there's a fine line between the frequency of confidence and cockiness. Believe me. So with that said, I'd like everyone to get a glass of water, please. Before I do a show or any type of web podcast with the public, I typically like to bless a glass of water, and it sets the tone and the mood for the show to ensue. Water, like anything that is physical or non-physical energy, will do absolutely anything for you if you acknowledge its existence. And the highest form of acknowledgement is putting your attention on the water and speaking 8 magical words. So with that said, with your glass of water, I'd like you to raise your left hand over it about 3 inches and spread your fingers. And in a second, you're going to start to feel the energy run down through your hand into the water. That can come in many, many forms. It can come in the form of a straight up light bolt, like a lightning bolt. It can feel warm. It can feel tingly, and everything in between. Once you feel that, put your attention on the water and repeat these 8 magical words. I honor the space in which you exist. And almost instantaneously, you'll feel that flow go right down through your hand that much quicker. Now, go ahead and drink as much as you want and notice the taste and the texture of the water, folks. Silky smooth. And notice where it's moving now in your body energetically. Very important. So I will be monitoring the chat. So if you don't feel like speaking directly with me, you can post a question in the chat and I'll answer it as soon as I can get to it. So tonight is all about the DNA altar and crystal list. The DNA altar has probably been on the market now about 6 months or so. And after its initial launch, we sold out in, I think, less than 30 hours of the lot that we had, and we got more in. And it's a very special product. It's actually the first product that I took to an extreme with laser 3D engraving inside the physical unit itself. And as this product started to emerge, the geometry within the base changed, the programming crystal that sits on top changed during the prototypes, and of course the stone, which is a beautiful ruby that comes with it, and each one, by the way, is handpicked by me to be perfectly matched for you, also changed. And you know, from the inception in your head to delivering a product into the world, any product is a daunting task. It's a lot of work, to think outside the box, which I do pretty much 24/7, and dream this stuff up and bring it to the world. It's hard. It's there's a lot of pitfalls, especially with the pandemic raging in the world, securing supply channels for product, making sure you have product on hand. This particular piece comes, there's only one manufacturer for the unit itself, actually 3. The boxes, the crystal unit and the rubies are from 3 places in the world. But imagine, something like the Wishing Sphere XL. So the boxes come from Colorado, the rubies come from India, the spheres come through an American manufacturer. The Moldavite at the time was coming from the Czech Republic. The bases were coming from the Netherlands. So that's 5 or 6 different geographical areas around the world that you have to secure a supply chain, and it's tough. It's been a challenge, but we've overcame it. So when you dream up a product, and I have many products in my head. We have 6 that are entering production pretty soon for next year, which are mind blowing. And to make and create a viable product out of that is really the will of the universe. The universe does all the heavy lifting. I'm simply the orchestra that kind of puts it all together. And what I've noticed over time and time again, is that when something comes in my field that's blocking me from bringing a product to market, the universe will come right in and take it out. So with the DNA altar, around the beginning of the year, I was thinking about telomeres on the DNA, on the physical DNA, what is junk DNA? And a lot of it didn't make sense to me on a bunch of different levels. And there's a lot of products out there that claim to do all kinds of things. And there's very few products that make a claim and actually do it. So I was kind of discouraged about what was on the market, and I wanted to explore this new world of laser engraving in crystal to bring something about. So, the pyramid was the first part that was shown to me, but it wasn't right. Well, what about if we just take the top of the pyramid off? Wow, well, we kind of got this new shape. What about if we put a hole in the center of the pyramid? I can drop some type of stone in there to ensue the energy. And what about a giant crystal that sits on top that's got some, amazing stuff in it? But I didn't want to physically change anyone's DNA. What I wanted to do was alter the energy of the DNA, which is infinitely more potent than the physical, because the energy of the DNA and the physical are constantly interacting. And that's, that kind of school of thought came from 15 years of developing the Aquaware suite, Aquasync suite, where you never really want to program water inside the body directly from the software, because water inside the body vibrates at different levels to support body function. And if you're hitting it with high vibe, you're going to detox horribly, and you don't want that. So that kind of school of thought was brought together with the DNA altar. And then, there's always a story that goes with a product. And, when you're activating the DNA altar, you are not saying, I honor the space in which you exist. You are saying, I was, I am, and I will be again. Think about that, folks. I am, I was, I am, and I will be again. So when you think about that for a couple of minutes, you're really encompassing past, present, and future. And if you look carefully at the lineage of all the products that myself and this team have created over the years, they really do represent past, present, and future. Past being ancient knowledge, the present, the products being put together with state-of-the-art metallurgy, fabrication processes in a futuristic design. So I am, I was, I am, and I will be again kind of followed suit with that. But the idea in the school of thought behind that was, in my exploration over my 20-year wake up period, the universe has led me through a multitude of learning processes through exercises to maturely and reliably, once that data was delivered to me, how I would execute it in the world. And the DNA altar could not have been created had I not learned pieces and breadcrumbs along the way to, obtain the knowledge to put a masterpiece like this together. And the thought of just activating it and saying, okay, heal my body didn't make much sense to me, although it is the easiest way. But with all great healers, with all great products that heal, there's one thing that they all have in common, and that's a story. Okay. So to make the user interactive in that story was actually a stroke of genius that the universe delivered to me. And that is any mantra or meditation that you like to get into your place of power, and then putting your arms and then closing your eyes with your attention on the ruby, and then, pulling up your body on a black silhouette and zeroing in, zeroing in, zeroing in, moving through the skin, getting down to the cellular level, and then getting smaller, and actually visibly in your mind's eye, seeing that DNA. And what you're doing is the power of how the geometry is all integrated into the DNA altar is allowing you to see the perceived healing that's going to ensue. Okay, perceived healing. Now, in my explorations, I've learned a lot of stuff that I've never made public before, just because the timing wasn't right or people weren't ready to kind of hear this knowledge. But I know that there is a multitude of realities that rage around us all the time, just outside our five senses. And those realities contain different versions of us. And in one of those versions, there's a perfect version of you, a perfect version of you. And the idea, as the DNA altar is accelerating, and as you're getting closer and you're starting to see the perceived, you are a divine creation. Okay. There are no imperfections in your light body. It's not possible. It's pure. It's perfect. And that's the plane of existence that we're playing on when we bring the kind of the power to bear here. So the idea was, in one of these alternative realities, was to bring forth that part of you that's absolutely perfect, and then push it out to the DNA and allow the healing to ensue. So on the top part of the crystal, we have the flower of life, we have a DNA strand, and then we have the sign for infinity. And I've been asked this many times, why these three symbols and why in this order? Because the top crystal literally helps to program the rest of the unit. And in this order is a universal programming language to help heal you at an incredibly fast rate. Okay. And on the bottom, we have again, I apologize for all the reflections, but you know the unit. We have the flower of life, and then we have 4 DNA strands at 90-degree angles, folks. One of the original prototypes was actually to have a triangle. And, until you start tinkering in, a program that allows you to design this stuff, you start to uncover more and more of the mystery of how the power of the product, and by doing the work, and it's not really work, it's always fun, folks. That's the cool thing with the universe. It allows you to open up and see the perfection, exactly how it's going to work. And I never, I think the number is like 90% of businesses in this country fail every year within the first year. And everything I do, I use a simple sauce: love, gratitude, humility. Love, gratitude, humility. Love, gratitude, humility in everything I do. And when you create products with love, gratitude, and humility, then they're going to succeed into the world. And the DNA altar is no different from any of the other lines that have been created by myself and this team, or uh, all the ideas that have come forth. So the DNA altar is really the first in a generation of products that will be coming into the new year that kind of utilize the same core technology. I don't want to say too much about the products that are coming on the show, but we have quite a few amazing things coming in the new year. So I'm going to stop here. If you guys have any questions, you can unmute yourself, or you can type it here. Otherwise, I'm going to go a little bit further into some tricks on how to utilize this guy. First of all, have you been having success with your DNA altar? And if so, maybe you could write what you've been doing. When a product is created from this team and pushed out into the world, it's coming from a vantage point of love and unlimitedness. So I always create a pretty basic instruction set on how to utilize this, but the best is when people are thinking outside the box on how to use these products, because they're unlimited and they respond to you very much like a child would. And I'm constantly telling people to speak to your DNA altar and get to know it, because it's conscious creation. Each product that goes out into the world, you've never picked it, picked you. You were just drawn to it, and that made the connection. But there's a conscious creation behind each product, and it only wants to get to know you and to serve you better. And by you showing the product love, and saying basically, hey, what's up? How are you? What you'll feel are waves of vibration that come back. And those waves of vibration are, the first step towards language, right? Human language. And, I get emails from people that have conversations with their products, and they're utilizing them. Exactly, just feeling the energy it has. The DNA altar is crazy powerful. It's doing a lot of beautiful things for people, and the testimonials that roll in are the fuel that feeds the fire of creation, creativity behind me to create more of these types of products and push them into the world. The other piece that was created was the crystal disc, which came just after a couple months after the launch of the DNA altar. I'm sorry, I don't have any with me, but it's basically the same crystal, but there's nothing in there. And the school of thought behind that one was that crystal disc would be programmed personally by me with one of 10 intentions, or one of 6, I think we did for the show. And when you receive it, it's already been pre-programmed, and it's really just up to you to repeat the mantra that goes with it, and everything else is done and just kind of works on its own. The DNA altar has been very successful for the people that listen to the simplicity of how to use it. Okay. As humans, we love to overcomplicate everything in our lives. And I have worked very, very hard to free my consciousness from the confines of being complacent and complicated. And when you look at these products, the DNA altar, it's very, very simple, folks. It's three pieces. It's beautiful. It becomes a showpiece in people's houses. But when you open it, you feel this raw energy. How many products have you opened in your life that you feel raw energy come from? I'm guessing probably not a lot. And that energy is already attuned with you because the product picked you. Remember that. Very, very important. A lot of times people give them names. Mary, whatever comes to mind. There's always a perfect point. There's already a name picking, and it's really just when it comes out, it's already been there. So the DNA altar delivers a lot. And what I'd like to do is a quick demonstration of this particular product when used correctly. Okay. So if you have a DNA altar around you, just put it on another table. We're going to use mine. I really want you to understand how the product works from start to back, start to finish. So in your mind, go ahead and pick out an area of perceived healing. Okay, whatever that is, whatever it is. You can also use the DNA altar to do remote healing on clients, on loved ones, on friends, family, anybody, utilizing really the same techniques. And the cool part is they don't have to know about it. Now, the only reason it wouldn't work is because if they are in the situation that they're in a trajectory where they have to go through an experience to learn something, nothing would work. Otherwise, it would work flawlessly using the same technique. So with the DNA altar in front of you, you want to kind of put your elbows down, your palms facing up. Repeat those magical words: I was, I am, and I will be again, with your attention on a ruby, and you'll instantly just feel the energy fire up. Okay. The kind of part we're skipping is the meditation part. There's a lot of, I didn't specify any meditation techniques because that's really personal to people, and I didn't want to complicate the usage by pulling you outside of your comfort zone and using a prescribed meditation technique that works for me, because what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. So that was kind of important. So let's just assume that we're all in our place of power, and just close your eyes and pull up yourself or someone else's body on a black silhouette. And with each in breath through your mouth, you're moving closer to that area. Typically 10, 12 in breaths get you down to the level of the energetic DNA. One deep breath, and then when you're exhaling, you're moving closer. Now you're probably feeling a lot more power. And that's just because we're using mine, and mine is mine. So as you pierce the skin and you're getting closer to that 11th or 12th in and out breath, you're instantly going to see the perceived area that is failing you on some level. And again, you want your attention kind of on that ruby as you're doing this. What you'll notice, folks, is the ruby in your mind's eye as you're putting your attention starts to glow with power. And that is translating into the DNA altar now. And if you look at that area of perceived healing, you're going to notice that it's starting to be pushed out and it's shrinking very, very rapidly. Hey, you like them apples? One of the things that I learned early on when the creation process started, even long before the physical products, was to put all of your love, passion, and creativity into what the end result's going to look like and forget about how you're going to get there. And you don't want to be passionate or motivated about a creativity process or really anything you do in life. You want to be driven. Being passionate and motivated are temporary. When you're driven to see something through to completion because you're putting all of your love, gratitude, passion, and everything into what the end result's going to look like, you become driven automatically. And as you're driven to create that perfection in how you're delivering it, you're making the product alive. You're giving it that creation consciousness, which brings up another point: confidence. When you're utilizing any of these MDM products or whatever you own or whatever you do, if you decide to get something in the future, is confidence. When I do a video around the product launch, or doing a podcast, or just having a talk with someone over the internet to a crowd of people, I'm very, very confident in what I'm talking about. And that confidence is a frequency, okay? And that frequency that's being driven from you into the ethers, and everyone that's listening, it sets a precedence and a comfort level for that person to look at a product and ultimately decide to purchase that product or not. If I wasn't confident in the delivery of what a product for myself or this team, the MDM team, is going to do, then that product would not succeed in the world. And you can use this logic in anything that you do in life. And a lot of people in the world have zero confidence in themselves because they're probably stuck in fear on many, many levels. And this is going to cascade into a much longer conversation, but I'm going to give you the basics of it. Fear is an illusion, folks. It's the illusion that something may or may not come to pass. I'm afraid to climb the ladder because I may fall down. Now there's DNA fear, which is very real. You stick your hand in the fire and you're going to get burnt. That's that's in your DNA. But fear is the illusion. Fear is what keeps you stuck and unable to move forward. And I've done videos around unplugging, and I've done talks around unplugging. And unplugging is not easy, not even for me. And that's basically to leave your cell phone at home. Don't read the newspaper. Don't read what's going on in the world. And what you'll find is your level of anxiety comes down rapidly, and your fear starts to diminish. And as soon as the ice starts melting, your fear starts going away, your confidence starts to rise. Okay. And you want to have a high degree of confidence when you're utilizing a product like Crystal This or the DNA Alter. And there is no product in the world that I know about that works 100% with zero confidence in your ability to work with that product. There's nothing. Confidence is paramount when you're using something like the DNA Alter, right? So I am confident that at the end of my session, the perceived healing will be done. I am confident. So when I launch a product, there's not a shred of doubt. There's not a hint of fear. There is anxiety, but that's business anxiety about, was the delivery right? Did I speak the right words? In that confidence, I mean, if you go back and you look at videos that I did way long ago, I mean, probably back as early as 2009, you'll notice one thing that is the same in every video that I've ever done. It's my confidence level. When your confidence is high, magic ensues. Very, very important, folks. When you're using these products, have a high degree of confidence that what you're going to do and what you're going to see at the end of your session is 100%. You are driven to use these products to help you in a fashion that they're described. Confidence is very, very important. Knowing this is just as important as confidence. Knowing this in your divine ability to deliver however, whatever, whenever you're utilizing the 100+ products that we have on the website to bring greatness into your lives and people that surround you. Go far back as simple as something like the HFA Mini, which was one of the second physical product I think I ever had created. Bold step, big claims, right? Will protect your energetic field from all negativity. That's a huge claim. I've never created anything like that, but my confidence was unwavering through the creation process, through the delivery mechanism, and then ultimately when the feedback and the testimonials started coming in from the consumer base around that product. People that had were claustrophobic were getting into elevators for the first time in years, no problem. Empaths that couldn't go out in public because they pick up on everyone's garbage, and the mood swings that they would have became mellow. They could do it because the confidence, the knowingness is huge. Knowing that a product like the DNA Alter or Crystal This is going to do exactly what it says it's going to do is instilled in the consciousness grid, folks. It's instilled in the consciousness grid. It's a vibration. The way I'm dressed tonight is in a very, very relaxed state. I never dress like this. Typically, I look pretty good. Tonight, I'm like sweatshirt, hat, because just gonna have nice and relaxed. But my confidence and my knowingness in the delivery of the information that you're receiving and how you're going to utilize that as you move down your life path is going to greatly benefit you on many levels. So I'm just going to pause for a minute, and if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them.
Yeah, I have a few actually. It's
Hi,
Arlene.
who's this?
Arlene.
Hey.
Hi there. So I do body work, and I was just wondering about when you said you can do work with this, with the pyramid, and not the pyramid, but the crystal. Um, I wouldn't take the whole thing into the office. That's number one. It's too precious. Um, can you just use the crystal itself with the DNA?
So we're talking about the DNA altar.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about the altar. I'm talking about the crystal you put on top.
So it's a combination. They have
Okay.
to work in sync, but it also works remotely. So if you are in the office and you have already activated your DNA altar and say it's at home,
Mm-hmm.
and as a practitioner, you're, going through the motions before you work on somebody, you can connect just simply by putting your attention on the DNA altar and going through the same modalities physically with a person. Or you could have the DNA altar at home. You could be in your practice and your client is remote, and it'll all connect the same way. The energy, it's physically doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. Now, can you use the crystal itself, without the altar?
No, it's a combination because
I thought you were selling them separately on the program, weren't you?
so we were selling a crystal just like this that's blank.
Oh,
There's
okay.
nothing in it. It's called crystal this, and they're used for
Oh,
a
okay.
completely different purpose. The crystal this, which we did on the Darius show, are actually programmed by me with one of 6 intentions personally. So they're very strong when they're received.
Okay. So yeah, you wouldn't put any other crystal on that altar.
No, 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 no,
No. Okay.
no. The any of the MDM products, first and foremost, play nice with each other all the time. No, that's never a question.
Okay.
If you are using the DNA alter in conjunction with something that vibrates at the same level or vibrates higher, it'll play nice. If that something vibrates lower, then the DNA alter will completely negate it altogether.
Okay. Like a Vogel crystal. What would you say about
I'm sorry?
like I have a Vogel crystal. You wouldn't put that on the altar.
No, you don't want to put anything on the DNA altar. You want to
Okay.
use it
Okay.
just with the pieces that it comes with. That is really balanced very well
And
when
if
you're
you have
using
like
it.
if you have a chronic condition, something chronic, how long do you think it would take to see some shifts?
I'm sorry, I'm just having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
Okay, so if you have like if I was working on myself, say,
Hmm.
and with a chronic skin condition,
Hmm.
how long would the session be, possibly, and how long would how many not how many I mean I know you can't predict anything, but how long would you think it would take but to see at least some shift?
Instant. You'll know it.
Okay.
Again, it's about that confidence level and the knowingness, right? It's not about how long it's going to take. It's about where are you putting your attention as you're going through that meditation. So as you're kind of zooming into the body and maybe the skin affliction or something is on the shoulder, and you're zooming in underneath the skin, and you're going to see the area that's affected. Okay. And as your attention is on that ruby, you're going to see that area that's affected start to mitigate very quickly. Now that's on the energetic side, right? So typically when a person comes into contact with something that vibrates higher, the light body is instantly matching that vibration. And that's what I've been alluding to earlier. but the physical body can take up to 72 hours to match that vibrational level. It's no different with the techniques we're using with the DNA alter.
Okay. Okay.
So, going back to your question, how long does that take? My question back to you is, how long does that take based on what you now know?
Instant.
Exactly. Now, how many sessions does it take? That really depends on a lot of different factors. Pretty much, a lot of people that have been in this field for a long time make some pretty bold claims. Not people that are selling things, but people that have worked with products that they can handle a lot of high vibrational energy, and that's great. But there's a lot of levels of high vibrational energy, and I myself have been exposed to quite a bit, and I still get hit on the back of the head pretty hard during the product creation. So it's not about the vibration. It's ultimately about getting you to where you need to be by all means available. Great question, by the way. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Sure. And
Hi, my name is Jill.
hi, Joe.
And hi, I use crystal tuning forks with my healings, and I've been using the DNA alter. So can you clarify when you said that lower frequencies are negated by the DNA alter? So if are certain tuning forks that I'm using ineffective?
Sure. So again, everything vibrates at some level. The DNA alter vibrates at a very high level. So if you were using the DNA alter with the tuning forks, I would assume that they vibrate at the same level. So there's no problem there. They'll work nice. If you came up with a stone, for instance, that you picked up in some foreign land that had a lower vibration to it that you probably aren't aware of, and you were using it in conjunction with the DNA alter, the DNA alter would override that programming instantly and not use it at all. Although physically you would go through the motions, but you would only be getting the energy from the DNA alter.
Okay, that makes sense, because I feel the DNA alter has definitely enhanced my healing practice.
Oh yeah, I mean, healing forks are beautiful, and they
Yeah.
do. They vibrate very, very high. But the DNA alter is very, very specific in how it operates and how it delivers. And if there's any interference on something that's questionable, it's just not going to work. The product that you're using in conjunction is just not going to do anything. And you probably would not be aware of that.
Okay.
Maybe you would be. Maybe you just get a feeling like you just had with the tuning forks.
Uh-huh. Yes, it's very powerful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question.
And
I I keep the DNA alter and the crystal in my workspace, and I trying to figure out what would be the best way to use it on my clients. I have a lot of people coming in recently that have cancer or just some major things happening for them, and how would I best use this to just even give them immediate relief, on some level, you know what I mean, like without weirding them out. What would you suggest?
So first of all, I don't think if you're a practitioner and they're coming to you for healing on some level, I don't think they're going to be weirded out because they're kind of already in that space, right?
Yeah.
Crystal, this is
Mhm.
personal to you. So you
Yes.
can't use that on somebody else, right?
No, yeah, no.
The DNA
I
alter
have,
is
yeah.
fantastic for using on other people. So when they come in and you want to give them that instant relief, make them part of your ritual, which is, putting your hands out and walk them through the motions. You've already done it. So in essence,
Mhm.
you're master of all your survey already with the DNA crystal because you've already done it, and just teach them, work with them, just like you would anybody else on anything. And when you are creating that story, right, and involving somebody, there is no weirdness because by design, as humans, we want to learn and be creative. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, they're seeing something that, is like, what is that? and now you're walking them through this beautiful kind of mantra, however you want to do it, and then these visualizations that seep in from the higher octaves. And a lot of times people report, those colors that you can't see with your human eyes, and it's like an acid trip squared. So make them part of what you're doing, and there is no weirdness in that.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't the right word, but I have a salon, so not everybody is open, to energy work. But I have to wear a lot of hats when I'm working. Some days I'm your mother, your friend, your pastor, whatever. So I'm
Then
just
those
trying to,
then those people are not heeding that clarion call, and they're just who they are. Only
yeah.
attend to the people that are receptive to what you are delivering. Everybody else,
Mm. Okay, so would be more, I guess it would be more intention for me if they're not uh
it's more
everybody's at
knowingness.
different levels.
more- It's more knowingness and confidence.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. Okay.
Great question, by the way.
I'm still learning. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions? Come on, these are fun.
Well,
Arlene?
I have more of a question on the, this is Arlene again. So I have more of a question. I bought the Aquaware years ago. Before it went you're using it on the internet. I have the program. Now, I have used it, like looking at it and tried and watched instead of just putting it in water for my own body, and also done some screenshots for like giving it to clients so that they could put water on it. Is that okay? Because I know you were saying
Taking
not.
screenshots and giving it to clients, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Programming water inside the body is not advisable.
Okay, so not, so watching the thing and programming it into myself is not a good thing.
Well, you're not, unless your focal point is your body. Just by watching it, you're not actually doing anything.
Okay,
If you'll know if you're doing something wrong, believe me. I've detoxed more times than I've wanted to with Aquaware in the creation process of it. And,
well, I know you say you can like do your bath water or do this, and I'm not quite sure how you meant that, but you're putting a glass of water in front of the program as it's running, correct?
Right, but the water doesn't have to be there.
Oh, it doesn't.
Where you put your attention, the intention will follow. So if you're up in bed and you're running a QLS and you have a case of water in the refrigerator, just put your attention on the water in the refrigerator and run your QLS, and that's it. You don't have to stare at it. The point of inception is when you hit the nucleate button, your attention has to be on the target water when you click that button, and then you can go make a sandwich as the program does its thing. That's the only part that's required by the user.
And what's the difference between the way things are now versus when the Aquaware that I have? I'm sure you have new programs in there, correct?
Wow, I mean, it's a whole different animal today. All the information is on the website. It's a SaaS platform. It's a subscription-based model. You can run it on pretty much any device with a web browser and a data connection, as where the old genre was a Windows 32 or 64-bit download.
I didn't see like I originally saw how much it was per month, but I couldn't find it again.
It's not on the website anymore.
Oh, okay.
The software was, I mean, it used to sell for several $100s. It was not cheap.
No, I know, I bought it. But I'm just wondering now, no, I'm saying I didn't see the subscription price. I couldn't find that.
It's right under the AquaSync tab.
Okay, I will check it out again.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. Anybody else have any questions this evening? We're going to wrap it up. Going once. Going twice. Okay, folks. Thank you for your time. And, it's always a pleasure working with all of you on these more intimate forums to deliver more knowledge about the products. Thanks, folks. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you.